from ChiefsDigest.com at 7:30. Coach Gary Barnett at 8 o'clock. ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler at 8:30. Mike's got this. Mike's got picks. Mike DePasquale at 9:30. We're going to play some comments from Eli Drinkwitz's press conference yesterday. Maybe one of the... let me think. Not for shock value or anything like that, because there's been some great press conferences where, Jim Mora, playoffs, things like that happen at a press conference to make them memorable. But just for like content and just a coach, because I don't know about you, I get tired of coaches in press conferences just being so tight and refusing to say anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a big word salad. So for me, it's refreshing when you listen to a press conference, either when a coach is willing to open up a little bit and talk X's and O's and talk football and give you some insight into that and understand that they're not guarding government secrets. We can all talk about football, there's game film and everything else. Everyone knows what everyone's doing. There's all 22s. And let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's not hide anything. Or if someone's just open and honest about the inner workings of a program or an organization, I think it's interesting. But I'd say the press conference from Eli Drinkwitz yesterday was one of the more interesting press conferences I've heard in a while. I mean, his are always good, too, because he always says something. How often does he give us a quote or something?
Often.
Something, as you say, provocative?
Provocative.
We're worthwhile. He gave a lot of it yesterday, talking about the state of college football and what's right and what's wrong and NIL and transfer portal and just all kinds of good stuff. So we're going to play some of that. Yeah, Jake, it's like 26 minutes, but either in the first segment or the second segment, I just want just find the last question and his last chunk, because we're going to start to see more of this, and I found this to be very interesting. Basically openly campaigning for a kid to stay and asking if there's anyone out there that would be interested in providing some NIL funds for said player to stay. Have you seen many coaches do that, like about a specific player? Like,
I don't remember that.
So have you, Jake? Have you heard a coach like in a press conference say, "Hey, this guy, we're gonna have trouble keeping him. If there's anyone out there
by name, like we're talking, we know."
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I want you to hear it and hear how he goes about it. But it's because I don't
remember hearing that. No.
Jake, have you heard a coach make a plea for a specific player and
no, obviously,
say, hey, out there, if you're,
we've only had a couple of years of this NIL payments. So no,
but
this is the first time
I don't listen to every press conference out there, but
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, hey, by the way, fans, you like this running back? We're having trouble keeping him.
Yeah.
And if you want us to have this really good player, if anyone's interested in getting involved in NIL, please contact us. And you can help us keep him. I haven't heard that yet. Heard it yesterday.
Man.
And so I feel like I'll hear it more. Maybe. I don't know.
Start up a GoFundMe, I guess, huh? Fans could contribute.
Well, just, like if there's...
Yeah, but a rich guy out there. Yeah.
If there's a guy
gal,
if it's a player like this player that we're going to talk about here in a minute, from St. Louis. Hey, if there's anyone in the St. Louis area that would like to get involved here,
Maybe own a business, it's a little sponsorship
That's
deal.
what you're looking for.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for. Hey,
Might as
look,
well cast a wide net, put it out there.
we had a deal that Brady Cook didn't come on the show for free last year.
Right.
Let me tell you. And we were good with it. And it ended up being really, really good. He was a good interview every week. I mean, remember when he talked about going over to the hospital and getting checked out and everything else during the game and trying to get back into the game? Just all these he told good stories, but players can do that now. And so we'll play some of that in a little bit. I think you guys are going to like this. And then we got a chunk, too, that I sent Jacob earlier about just college football in general. So we got that going for us. Did you watch Kansas basketball?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
How come Darren Peterson didn't play?
He's got cramps in his quad, apparently. There's a recurring issue. It's
Did that have you nervous?
Yeah, I don't even know if nervous is the right word.
He was fine for the Missouri game.
Yeah, he was, but even then he got sick the day before that, so his minutes were limited. He played like 23 minutes. I'm not sure how many he would have played anyway because he hadn't played much or at all for a while. But yeah, even that game, the day of or the day before, Bill Self said he had come down with an illness and they were going to have to limit his minutes. But the quad thing has been a recurring thing. He was having the cramps at the beginning of the season. Then he had the hamstring injury. And the announcers kept saying last night that it's totally unrelated. The quad thing is totally unrelated to the hamstring thing. And forgive me if I'm a little skeptical of that. I mean, everything's kind of related, right? Like your body is all one big moving thing.
It's all connected.
Everything's connected. What's the old song? The hip bone's connected to the knee bone or whatever. How's that song go?
I don't know. Sing it.
The hip bone's connected to the
It's a
knee
deeper voice.
bone.
It's
I don't know.
It's a way deeper voice.
hip
The
bone.
original, yes.
The thigh bone, right? The hip
Yeah.
bone's because
I
of
don't
the thigh
know.
bone.
I don't know.
I know I've got you
I don't
doing
know my
multiple
bones.
things, but if you find that
Yeah.
song, it's a much deeper voice, Jake. Like Jake, do it. Can you do it? Do the
Hip bone's
Yeah.
connected to the thigh bone.
Well, that sounds like kind of a joke
thigh
guy.
bone connected to the
Yeah.
knee bone.
I don't know if that's it. That's a very gruff version of that song. I like it though.
Yeah.
I like the. Can we just clean out a segment later for you just to sing that entire song in that voice?
Absolutely.
I'd like to sit there and listen
I
to
can do
that.
That's a guy that could tell you some stories.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh boy, could
Right. It's a guy sitting on the porch smoking a cigarette
Yeah.
right there,
Yeah.
singing that song.
But so I don't know. I mean, they say totally unrelated. I almost hope that's not true. But there's Bill Self has said, his body's not reacting. His brain is telling him to go someplace and do it at this pace, and his body's just not reacting to it. We believe we'll get through this, I think is one of the things he could say. I think that they hopefully they figure it out. It seems to me like something that they can't get a handle on. I know Self said that there's been all kinds of remedies that people have suggested. Drinking a pickle juice has been the biggest one, I guess. Everybody's suggesting he drink pickle juice for the cramping. But
A lot of people say that works.
yeah. But there's, I mean, I know I reference this stuff way too often, but being married to a physical therapist for 20 years, we have conversations all the time about these things, and the human body's complex.
When do you ever reference that?
I've never, the first time. But it is interesting to listen to my wife talk about the problem solving when one person's presenting symptoms that react to this thing, and then another person's presenting the same symptoms, but it's caused by something totally different. You know what? It could be caused by something in their brain telling them that they're having cramps. It could be caused, I'm not going to get into I don't know what it could be with him, but there's any list of things that maybe haven't even been considered yet that could be causing it, and I hope they figure out what it is.
You still have a bunch of time to do that.
No,
You
don't. You don't have a bunch of time, and it's you're getting a semester break here, and I mean I I think the concern that some people have too is that if it's going to be a situation where, it's been kind of broad. I mean, I've seen all, everybody's weighing in on it. I saw Thomas Robinson's weighing in on it saying, and Norm Roberts weighing in saying that when you're a kid this special, you've got to be careful. You got to be careful with this stuff. He's got a future to protect and all those things. And I totally get that. But that also makes you wonder, okay, well, like, if it's got to be 100% to play, is he ever going to be 100%? Is anybody?
Seems like Jake wants to weigh in on this. No? Are you getting frustrated by this talk?
It's just
kind of
confusing. I mean,
Nate or the situation?
Situation.
Confusing for
Nate
a long
too.
time.
Okay.
Nate too.
Well, I mean, say your piece here.
I mean, I deal with cramps as an old man, but like, cramps is not an injury. I'm sorry. I mean, cramps is a deficiency in something. It seems like you could do a little blood work.
Well,
I mean,
okay. So, and again, please don't mistake this. I am not. At one time, I may have been considered somewhat of an athlete. No more. no longer. I'm not very active. The day-to-day rigors of life have broken me down and my body along with it. But what I can tell you is when I had that back issue that ultimately led me to having surgery, one of the worst things about that, like the back issue, my back pain alone was enough to necessitate surgery. But but I was living with it. It would go out sometimes. I'd be in a lot of pain, but I was dealing with it, right? When it got unbearable was when it started, that injury that I had to my L4, my L5, and they explained it to me. I'm not going to go through it because I'll get it wrong and then I'll sound stupid, and I do enough of that on my own already. That injury in my back was causing horrible, unbelievably painful cramps in my leg, in my lower leg, in my calf area, and sometimes really bad in my hamstring. And when I tell you it hurt, like to the point where it was unbearable, to where I went through that for about maybe a couple of weeks, and then because I was trying to do everything but have surgery, and then I remember just looking at my wife and said, I have to have surgery. I can't do this anymore. And so the cramping was a symptom of an injury that I had. And so like when I hear that, and when you're talking, the cramping isn't the injury itself.
It's the symptom.
But it's a symptom of something that could be, that's going on somewhere else. Because that's what, I'm like, why is this,
Yeah.
And they explained it to me, and I was like, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of my point. The cramping is not the injury. There's a deficiency somewhere, whether it be in his flexibility, whether it be in his muscles, whether it be, his body
injury somewhere else.
His body is deficient somewhere else, and that's causing the cramping. So it's like,
that's the whole point. They got to find out what's causing it.
Right.
I mean,
but it's hard. That ain't easy. It's hard to find out.
I think a lot of people think, because most of the time, probably your cramps come because you're not hydrated enough, right? Or you don't have like potassium in your body. That's why people are saying drink pickle juice. And I think if it were that simple, this wouldn't be an issue.
No, I mean cramping can come because of lack of flexibility.
An
impingement somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said.
And I'll tell you one thing like this. I found this fascinating talking to my wife about this. She had a coworker who became like one of the foremost experts on pain. And he
was their name Clubber Lang?
Yeah, he brings the pain.
My prediction. Pain.
And he's written all these books about it, so my wife has studied a bunch. And, like when people say things like, oh, it's all in your head, a lot of times injuries are mental because pain is your brain processing information coming from your body. So for example, she told me that it's common a lot of times, like if the reason people like hamstring issues become recurring, when you have a bad pull, there could be scar tissue there. And then when your brain feels that scar tissue, it assumes, oh no, I pulled my hamstring again. And it feels to the person dealing with it exactly like it did when they pulled their hamstring. So they're talking about, oh man, I pulled my hammy again, and then they do the MRI and they're like, it's not, there's no muscle damage. We don't see it.
It's too deep.
And the point just being is that like your brain processes all these things. it's just such a complicated. The human body's so complicated that these things a lot of times aren't as simple as you think. And I think they're trying to figure out what's causing this. And as you said, there's not a ton of time to figure it out. And so it's frustrating for, I think, everybody involved. And I mean, I believe everybody that says he's like, some of my friends say, oh, he's just going to sit out till the pros. Do you think that's going to help his draft stock? Like, I can't imagine that that's the advice. Like, hey, don't play any college basketball, and then you'll be the first overall pick. I can't imagine that if I'm an NBA scout, I'd be like, yeah, let's take the guy that missed all season. I mean, I don't think that helps your draft stock. So I just don't. I find that hard to believe. And everybody that's been around him says he's a competitor and a hard worker, and he wants to be out there and all that stuff. So, I think I believe that, but they got to figure out what's causing all this.
But they won last night.
And I think, yeah, and they played really well. And I don't know if you noticed, but Bill Self, in the clip that Jake played, talked about how the ball wasn't sticking, the ball was moving, and things got a little stagnant the other night. And I do think in the limited windows we've seen Peterson play, they're still kind of trying to figure out how to play with him. I think they figured out much better how to play without him. And that doesn't mean you don't want him out there, but they've got a lot more time playing without him. And I think if you're the team, you just go, well, hey, we can't assume that he's going to be out there. We got to do this on our own. And they played really well. Council's playing great. Badunga's playing good. Trey White's playing well. It was a good game.
We'll talk some more about that with Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. Now I've got some buzz about Patrick Mahomes that was posted at ESPN.com within the last hour. There's always a good, every Wednesday, early in the morning, right around when the show starts, Jeremy Fowler, who will be on the show at 8:30, and Dan Graziano put together an Around the NFL column with the latest buzz, questions, news, and also fantasy tips, which are no longer useful to me because, I don't even want to talk about it, okay, because football hates me. But the question was in this column, to start things off, what are you hearing around the league on fallout from Patrick Mahomes' injury? Dan Graziano. You guys tell me if you agree or disagree with any of this. A few people suggested to me that missing the playoffs won't be such a bad thing for the Chiefs. It'll force them to rethink their roster-building strategy around Mahomes. There's a perception that the Chiefs have been kind of perpetually retooling and counting on Mahomes' greatness to cover up their flaws and bail them out when things get dicey. Now they basically have 2 extra months to focus on their offseason plans, and they hope to put them to good use. They have devoted resources, money, and draft picks to the offensive line. Assuming Josh Simmons comes back healthy and they find a competent replacement for Juwan Taylor, that group should be a strength in 2026. Travis Kelce has been on the way out for a while now, and him hanging it up would probably force them to reimagine some things about the offense. They need to build a run game, which they didn't do this season. Mahomes will rehab. They'll probably go through the 26 offseason program with some combination of a veteran backup quarterback and a younger developmental one. By the time Mahomes returns, the goal will be to have a roster that doesn't need as many heroics from him as it has the past few seasons. That all makes sense?
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like I agree with all that.
And here's Jeremy Fowler. And again, Jeremy will be on the show at 8:30. The Chiefs were already forced to look in the mirror well before the Mahomes injury. If anything, his absence will remind Kansas City how much it will miss him and how much it needs to strengthen the roster around him. Despite the pedestrian, for his standards, numbers, people I've talked to inside the league did not see Mahomes as the problem for the offensive struggles. The way Mahomes got hurt, grinding for every inch on the field, that was an example of just how much he had to manage to simply manufacture first downs this season. One NFL coordinator who recently prepared for him said, the fear factor with him is still thick. THICC, maybe. He's still the best at winning differently each week. I still fear that player more than most. It just didn't go their way this year. Jeremy Fowler goes on to write, I expect the Chiefs roster to be vastly improved by the time Mahomes returns, which should be sometime next season, though week 1 feels awfully ambitious. He faces a lengthy 9-month recovery from the torn ACL and LCL, a timeline that threatens the early portion of the 26th season. That he had surgery so soon after the injury occurred was telling. So, nothing earth-shattering, but some good info and just what people are saying and what they're hearing around the league about the Mahomes injury and the fallout.
I'm interested. I'm going to be interested to hear from Jeremy. How do they drastically improve the roster in one off season? And I don't know what their salary cap flexibility is going to be like.
Well, it's going to be there's going to be some players that are on this roster that you'll be saying goodbye to in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right. A
Free
good
up some money.
Yes, a good handful of them.
Yeah.
All right. So, let's put it this way: there's going to be an offensive lineman that has no problem leaving early, as he's done many times this season.
I think I know. Oh, yeah.
Jawan Taylor.
I got it.
That'll be him in the locker room right after the last game. Like, oh, okay, bye-bye. Okay? Because if he comes back, I would. He's not. Okay.
Right. Right.
And that's just one. There's a list of veterans that won't be here. Who knows? There might be a trade or two with guys going out the door. The point is, they have an extra couple of months to figure that out.
Yeah.
Where they won't be trying to win every game down the stretch and preparing for playoff games and, competing in the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. They can start pretty much now. So, make good use of that time. We'll take a break. We got lots to talk about today. All right, Wednesday. And look at this. We're going to give this away. It's the 12 Days of Happy Holidays. The beer sign. What's they call it? A tacker? Is that right?
Yeah. Beer tacker.
It's a good one.
Tank 7, Boulevard Brewing Company, Tank 7. Farmhouse Ale, very beautiful. Would look good on your basement wall or your bedroom wall if that's the way you go.
It's a great beer, too.
Make it happen. All right, we're going to give that away today between now and 10 o'clock, courtesy of our friends at Boulevard Brewing Company. The 12 Days of Happy Holidays, back after this on WHB. Look here, Missouri, your moment's finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is now live in the state of Missouri. And look, I don't know what to tell you, but there's bowl games on pretty much every night now. You got nonstop football action. And you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. All right, so now every night you can have that game day energy and bring that energy to every snap, every touchdown, every win. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code 810WHB. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you very much for joining us. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty with Jake Gutierrez and also Deebs. Looking forward to talking to some college basketball with Mike DeCourcy coming up at about 6:05. Okay, so this is how Eli Drinkwitz ended his press conference yesterday. He talked about injuries, which included tight end Brett Norfleet and linebacker Josiah Trotter, both out for the Gator Bowl. Trotter with a knee, Norfleet with shoulder. And he talked about a lot of different topics, but this is how he ended things, and this was what I was talking about. So you guys are aware that Ahmad Hardy had a fantastic year at Missouri, and he is now a consensus All-American and was a finalist for the Doak Walker Award that was won by future Chiefs running back Jeremiah Love, who declared for the draft yesterday out of Notre Dame. And so, I mean, you can't get much better than that. And he's coming back next year. But one of the very brightest spots on the Mizzou offense that struggled to throw the football was the running game, and not only Hardy, but you had Jamal Roberts as well, who was awesome. But it's hard to keep guys, right? Especially if they're not going to be the man. And he's going to have to, if he comes back, you know, he's worked his way up through the program, he's going to have to share carries and probably be the 1B to the 1A of Ahmad Hardy. And so there's a lot of, you saw, I mean, Jamal Roberts was basically the guy that, I mean, he ended the game against Kansas. You could argue he was more impressive than Hardy in that game, but there were games where he was outstanding. And so there's a bunch of teams out there. What are they doing? Hey, come here. Here's your NIL offer, and you'll be the go-to guy. You'll be our go-to running back. And you can't blame a kid for listening, right? To listening to those offers. And maybe he wants. Maybe he's happy. He's a St. Louis kid. Maybe he's happy staying at Mizzou, right? But he had a hell of a year as the backup. 697 yards, 5 touchdowns, averaged 6.2 yards per carry. Had big playability. And so any team would win. I mean, he did that in the SEC, so imagine what he could do if he's getting all the carries. And so this is how Eli Drinkwitz ended his press conference yesterday, and he basically explained how hard they're trying to keep Jamal Roberts.
You know, we've had to pivot a couple of times on plans. I do think that we have a core value that, or a core set of philosophies or beliefs that we have, that retaining your own players is the start of building your team, and you got to do that first at the positions that you need and feel like are important to you. And then the second step is, you know, signing your freshman class, and the third step is obviously what you're going to do in the portal. So we're in the middle of that roster retention right now and doing the best we can to retain. You know, you got a tough situation because you got Ahmad Hardy, who is a consensus All-American, but I think Jamal Roberts is as good a back as there is in the country. And how do you beg Jamal to take less to stay here? You know, I mean, that's the real reality of it, and we're asking him to commit to a new way and do something different. And but that's a really tough decision. That is not easy, and that's not the only person. You know, so it's a really, really hard deal because when you have a hard cap, it's like I told the team. When an NFL owner doesn't pay, he gets to keep the money. Like nobody in here is keeping any money. Like, we just have a pot of money, and we got to divide it amongst everybody in here to try to create the strongest team possible. And so that's what we're trying to do, and we'll do the best we can. But if anybody in St. Louis has third-party NIL that they'd like to donate or work through to keep Jamal Roberts around, we'd love to talk to you about it because he's a heck of a player, and we'd love nothing more to have him be a Tiger for his career.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
MIC.
It's pretty good. I got no problem with it.
Well, I think it's-
why wouldn't you
Yeah.
go out there and try to get some help to keep him?
Well, I think it's smart on Drinkwitz's part from a standpoint that I think a lot of these coaches probably would like for everybody in their fan bases to know. Hey, by the way, yeah, we want to keep these guys. Like there's a reality to this.
But don't you think that was an interesting clip, just the way he talked about that?
Yeah. Well, it seemed very real. And I think it does a good job of kind of laying out what these coaches are all dealing with. Yeah, we got 2 good running backs. In the past, they would just stay here. But now, they can go get more money. Like my backup running back can go get more money somewhere else. And we don't have enough money to pay them all. Which I do think is one of the things that's leading to more competitive balance, right? If you're a good player and you realize that you could start somewhere else and that place needs a starting running back and they can pay you more money, all of a sudden it's hard to stockpile depth, right?
And he even said, how do we ask him to stay for less?
Yeah.
He's telling you right there, we
Yeah.
can't match some of these offers. And
Yeah.
so if you're a third-party NIL in St. Louis, you want to help us keep him, we'd love to talk to you.
Yeah. Step on up.
And guess what? What if that helps keep him?
Maybe it will.
Do you think any other coaches will begin to do that in press conferences? Or and maybe they have, and I've missed it. You know, that was straight and to the point, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Jake, you seem to, even though you're no Mizzou fan, you seem to like what Eli Drinkwitz has to say.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing the game. I mean,
Like Triple H.
yeah, it's time to play the game.
Right.
Look, if you can take an opportunity, because guess what? Maybe a donor steps up. It's like, hey, remember when Drink said that? I was that guy that stepped up and paid him.
I kept Jamal Roberts around.
Right. I mean, so you're like, look, these donors, they like to brag. They like to, be out there and support their school.
Braggarts.
So it's giving people an opportunity to step up and, hey, it's a no-brainer to use that opportunity to try to keep your roster the way you want it.
And I know you guys are a fan of football. You'd like to see both of them in Lawrence and Mizzou uniforms next year.
No,
You'd love it.
I wouldn't mind seeing one of them in Lawrence next year. If there's anybody, by the way, that's third-party NIL vendors out there that love Kansas.
Trying to mute him right now with a remote control, if I could.
Apparently,
good.
Jamal Roberts is on the table.
Yeah. If there's a rich Kansas alum out there that would like to pony up,
Lawrence isn't that
We
far
can
from
play
St.
this
Louis.
game. You just better watch it because Mizzou's got $2 million to spend on an offensive coordinator, and they can call Andy Koldenicki and make it interesting. So, you should see the look on his face
watch
right
your
now.
mouth, sir.
He got such a sour look on his face just now.
Watch your mouth.
He's on the hot board. Got to call
Why
everybody.
wouldn't he be?
You got a couple of million to throw around. Let's go.
I mean, remember when this was going to put all the colleges out of business? It seems like everybody just keeps finding more money.
You got to see the names on this hot board. Chip Kelly.
Hey.
Hey, call him. That intrigued Jake. By the way, Kirby Moore was introduced as the Washington State head coach. That's why Mizzou needs an offensive coordinator. And they asked him about Eli Drinkwitz, and he had this quote about Drinkwitz. And this is why I like Drinkwitz and why I didn't want him to leave. I think Coach Drake has done an incredible job of building the roster year in, year out. With the climate in college football, naturally, sometimes you're going to have attrition. Here's our strengths, here's our weaknesses. He's very innovative in terms of the NIL space and taking advantage of those opportunities to help our players. Can he get better as an X's and O's coach? Yes. But he has shown now that he will put a roster together that will give them a chance. Mm-hmm. That will give them a chance to compete. That's what he's doing, and that's the key now, man. Can you, as Jake said, can you play the game? Can you work the system to put yourself in a situation where you can compete? He's shown he can do it. And that's as important as X's and O's nowadays because you got to have the Johnnies and Joes as well. We'll take a break. Back after this on WHB. What's up, Kansas City? Steven St. John here for my friends at Weather Tech Renovations. And if you think you have any problems with your roof, you need to contact my friend Brian Donegan. Brian and his team are ready to help you. And look, with the winter weather, anything can happen. You've got freezing temps, heavy snow, ice dams, that constant freeze-thaw cycle. I mean, what was it on Sunday? 15 degrees? And then yesterday's and today it's in the 50s? What the hell's going on around here? So look, your roof could suffer. Your roof is taking the hits. If your shingles are curling, if you got leaks, drafty rooms, or suspicious stains on your ceiling, those aren't just winter quirks, they're warning signs, and ignoring them could lead to serious damage in the spring. That's where WeatherTech Renovations comes in. Brian and his team specialize in winter roof inspections, emergency repairs, and long-term protection, and most importantly, you can trust them. And they can stop small problems before they turn into big problems. All right, so don't wait for the next snowstorm. Protect your home, your comfort, and your peace of mind, and contact WeatherTech Renovations. All the information you need is at WTRenovations.com. That's WTRenovations.com, and tell them SSJ sent you. All right, here's one more clip from Eli Drinkwitz's press conference yesterday, talking about the state of college football, basically as it relates to the College Sports Commission agreement, which still hasn't been signed. But here's Eli Drinkwitz yesterday at his press conference before they get ready for the Gator Bowl against Virginia. And he also mentioned that it'll be a collaboration of offensive coaches that'll come up with the game plan, because there's no offensive coordinator, because Kirby Moore's not going to be with them for the Gator Bowl. And then after he gets the game plan put together and feels that they're ready, then he'll start his search for an offensive coordinator. But he did say, he goes, I have a list, and he told Gabe DeArmond, he goes, I saw your list. There's like 15 names. That was a pretty good list. He goes, but I don't think your list is my list. And so Gabe took that, rightly so, as, Eli Drinkwitz reads PowerMizzou.com, so he had a post, Eli Drinkwitz reads PowerMizzou, so should you, and then he had a subscription special. Right?
Yeah.
He referenced the list, and they also said, he goes, I want to scare some fans. I'm going to take over. I'm going to take over play calling again. And he poking fun at himself, because remember when he got there, he was the offensive coordinator, and then he had to step back and realize that he'd be better served as being just the head coach, and then the program dramatically improved. So he can poke fun at himself. Here is Drinkwitz on the state of college football.
I'm curious, how much do you get in contact with your peers about their perception of what's going on there, and is it coach talk, or do you just stay in your silo on it?
No, there's a lot of coaches discussing it and frustrated, in my opinion. And I understand the national sentiment because of the salary ranges of head coaches, that it feels like we're complaining, but we're really not. We're trying to sound warning bells, and that's what I believe we're all trying to do. Is that there's a warning that the system that we're in is really sick right now, and college football is sick, and not in it's just, there's showing signs of this thing really cracking moving forward, and we need to get something under control. The SCORE Act was something that it looked like it was going to be a step in a direction. There is no perfect solution, but we have to get some sort of steps moving in that direction. I think we're all weighted with, is it bated breath, the saying, trying to wait on what's going to happen with this fifth-year lawsuit in Nashville, where you could have a flurry of fifth-year guys now being eligible, and that would just throw a completely new wrinkle in the system. Tampering is at, the highest levels. There is no such thing as tampering. It's just because there's nobody that's been punished for tampering. And so everybody on my roster is being called. I had a dad call me and say that, and I called the head coaches at their schools, that this school and this school and this school called, and they are offering this much money. And, it's you're putting a lot of pressure on young men. We're paying them as 1099 employees a lot of money. We're not offering any type of retirement. We're not offering any type of health benefits. And we've worked around a system and then tried to create that as the system, instead of creating a functioning way of moving forward and making sure that it works for everybody. And whether that's collective bargaining, whether that's making them employees, whether that's antitrust legislation that protects everybody, the commissioner or the SEC or the NCAA from lawsuits, something needs to be done. Because, again, TV viewership may be at an all-time high, and that's awesome. And gambling on sports may be at an all-time high, and that's great. I got no problem with that. But what about the well-being of the student athlete? What about graduation rates? What about tax implications? What about handling and understanding financial literacy? What is their life going to look like after 5 years of college athletics? Is it going to be better because they participated in college athletics, or could they be in a tougher situation? And that a lot of us got into college athletics because we wanted to help young men grow and develop. And I think we're still doing that mission, but it's getting really hard because you used to talk about, Coach Saban used to talk about all the time, creating value for yourself. And when he talked about it, he wasn't just talking about value for the NFL. He was talking about creating value for yourself with a college degree. And we've lost that aspect of it. And these guys are going to create tremendous value for themselves playing the game of football, and that's awesome. And I love that these guys are getting paid. I love that last week these guys with their own money went out and bought gifts for Coyote Hill. I love that. That's awesome. But my job also is to look at them in 3 or 4 years down the road, and how many of them are in a better position because they played football if they've transferred 4 times. And that's just the system that we've created. Not all freedom is good freedom.
A lot there to unpack. If you'd like to say anything, Nate, you have 60 seconds.
Well, I agree with the vast majority of what he says, but it started with the coaches and administrators making millions and millions of dollars and having that freedom. And so it's hard to listen to, and he said it's a system we've created. That's right. Because it's hard to sit there when you're the unpaid athlete going, oh, you want me to stay for no money while you make $10 million and can leave whenever you want. And so it trickles down, but I'm with him. I think we've kind of lost the plot on what sports actually will provide the overwhelming majority of even college athletes, which is hopefully life lessons and the ability to become really successful at whatever they do once they're not playing sports anymore.
I'm sure it varies from state school to state school, but when I was at Western Illinois on a full scholarship, the university covered my insurance and my when I had a knee injury, the university covered that full surgery and everything that went around it. And then, health insurance, if I got sick and I went to the student health center, the university took care of all that. So in the state of Illinois, like I said, state schools probably vary from state to state, but in the state of Illinois, they took care of all scholarship athletes had insurance for injury and for health. So. Which was really nice. It was really nice. My parents were very thankful.
I bet.
So.
I wonder what Todd Lebo thought of that clip. Do you think he agrees with a lot of it?
I agree with almost everything he said.
Yep.
He's not wrong.
We got Mike DeCourcy coming up. We're also going to talk to Matt Derrick, Gary Barnett, Jeremy Fowler, and Mike DePasquale between now and 10 a.m. right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
What's up, Kansas City? Jake Gutierrez here. If you're in the Kansas City area, you've been able to bet in Kansas for quite a while now. But now, Missouri, your moment is finally here. No more driving across state lines to place your wagers. The Show Me State is now open to DraftKings Sportsbook, which is America's top-rated sportsbook. It's live right here in Missouri. And now you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays, money lines, prop bets, so much more. All from the comfort of your own couch, all on your phone, safe, secure, and easy to use. And right now, new Missouri customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action, powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. All you need to do is go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 810WHB. New Missouri customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. It's a no-brainer. What a deal. All you have to do is use that code 810WHB, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and new Missouri customers bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you use that code 810WHB. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
What's up, Kansas City? Stephen St. John here from my friends at Hy-Vee. Look, we all want to spend less time in the kitchen and more time with our friends and family this holiday. And Hy-Vee can help.